Of course they did.
Hello, thank you. I'm so happy you're here today. As we go throughout our day, there's often these negative voices we hear within our mindset, right? And they can be very toxic. And when we're constantly hearing those negative thoughts and those toxic words, it really does affect our overall health. And this is what Lisa and I are diving into today. Thank you very much, Lisa. I'm so happy you're here for episode number 65 as we dive into this conversation I feel is really, really important, and we need to talk more about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tanya, for having me
Yeah.
here with you. I'm excited to talk about this.
Thank you. And a question I always get viewers that want to know, where is this guest? Where is she from? So Lisa, can you please tell our guests, where in the huge globe out there are
Yes.
you from?
So I'm from Texas, actually. I'm in the Dallas area, outside of Dallas, in a town called McKinney,
Wow,
Texas. So,
lovely. Super,
yes.
super, super. And as you got ready this morning, in fact, as you get ready every morning, do you make self-care a part of your priority?
Oh my gosh, yes. I have like a routine that I do. And I go through, well, first when I first wake up in the morning, I listen to these audio led like meditations. I use brain tap technology. So I do that, and then as I'm getting ready, I'm doing my PQ reps because I'm in the positive intelligence space. So it's again getting your head in that right space so that you're ready to take charge of your day.
Yeah. And do you find too that including that self-care, it actually affects your mindset in a positive way because you're making yourself a priority? And you find as you're going throughout the day, going throughout your morning into the evening, and you happen to have these toxic negative thoughts, what's something you do to help shift that and help not, I'll say, believe those full-heartedly so they become stronger and stronger?
Absolutely. So I do, I mean, as a certified positive intelligence PQ coach, basically what I do is I use mental fitness to help me because it doesn't matter how positive we are most of the time and how successful or what phase we are in life. We all have those toxic thoughts that come in and come out. And the key is to notice them as soon as they arise. Unfortunately, sometimes we can let that derail us. But what I do is if I catch them, then I start doing these little micro meditations that are called PQ reps. And I involve my senses. So I might notice my feet on the floor. How do my feet feel on the floor? Are my legs like perfectly balanced? Am I putting more weight on one leg or the other? Or if I'm brushing my teeth, really being in the present moment and feeling that toothbrush. So it's things that I might do, anytime, anywhere. They're nothing earth shattering. But what it does is it causes you to be very present in the moment, and it takes that focus off of that negative thought pattern. So then you can shift to a positive mindset.
I love that, right? Being present in the moment and just focus on what you're doing. You said like brushing your teeth. It's something we do
Yeah.
every day, once,
Yep.
twice a day. And I love how you really pointed out that just be in the moment. It's something I do, brushing my teeth, and I'm focusing on all my teeth, right? And that
Yep.
little bit I find really helps you to get in the present moment and kind of let whatever was bothering you kind of slip away. Now, do you believe too, Lisa, that it's something that we need to be aware of and allow ourselves to be present in the moment instead of constantly listening to those negative thoughts or those negative words, that negative voice that we all have in our
Mhm.
mind?
Yes, there is this belief system that negative thought patterns are good because they motivate us. Negative thought patterns are not good on any level because they're very demotivating. The only positive with a negative thought pattern is to recognize that You're having it so you can shift your focus. So it's almost, if you think about it, almost like an alert on your phone or on your smartwatch. That alarm goes off, that alert. It's that negative thought pattern is that alert. Okay, it's a lie, it's fabricated, I need to shift.
Yeah, I love that. That's something, I've been practicing myself for years and again, I'll say it is through practicing, right? Recognizing it, not ignoring it. So when I hear that, those negative words come in, I just kind of stop whatever I'm doing, or if I'm in a store, let's say grocery store, and I hear it, I go about whatever I'm doing. But in my mind, I'm saying, okay, yeah, I hear you. However, this is not true, or I know I'm a good person, or, that person, whatever, if they were angry, it had nothing to do with me. I was just there and they were venting and not taking it personally as well. And, when we talk about how these toxic thoughts can affect our overall mental well-being, our overall wellness, what are your thoughts on that, Lisa?
Oh my gosh, it's so true because our thought patterns actually impact our behavior. What we repetitively think about drives our belief system, which then impacts our behavior. So if we're constantly thinking these negative thoughts, like, I'll never lose weight, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, whatever that negative thought pattern is, if you say it enough to yourself, you develop that strong neural pathway and then you believe it. And if you believe it, then you're not going to take risks. You're not going to put yourself out there or be in positive relationships. You're not going to take positive steps to improve your health and well being.
Yeah, so true. And I'm going to kind of relate that to actually this past weekend. My daughter and I ran a half a marathon up in the northern Muskokas areas of Ontario, Canada. It's
Nice.
absolutely beautiful, right? And, I could have gone into the race with the thoughts that, oh, am I going to beat my time that I want? Or what am I going to think when other people start passing me? And, oh, I could go on and on, but instead, I focused on, okay, my time, I'm imagining my time being between here and here, and I gave it a 15-minute life, time. And I'm going to enjoy the atmosphere, and I'm going to totally focus on myself, how I'm feeling, my breathing. Never mind the people that are passing me. I'm just going to listen to what I need to do. And with those thoughts, it was just quite a beautiful, enjoyable run. And I end up being, my time was better than I put myself at, right? And at the end, I celebrated because, like, woohoo, I was 2 minutes faster. But not only that, the fact that I finished and my daughter finished it and we loved it and the atmosphere was beautiful. And the people, like the spirits were, the people's spirits were really ecstatic and happy in the surroundings and focusing on the sunshine and the changing of leaves. And that in itself keeps you moving forward. Yeah. And what's a piece of advice that you can offer as well, Lisa, that let's say someone is planning an event or they have a meeting to go into, what's something they can do before they step into that meeting? What's something they can do before they step into that event? And even if they're planning before they speak, because we're going to have imposter syndrome without a doubt before that meeting happens, before the event happens. So what's something that you can share, Lisa, with our audience today, the listeners, how to help them, I'll say, get over that roadblock and become more self-confident, not only in their mind, but truly in their heart as well?
Absolutely. So I did a TEDx roughly a year ago, and this ties in perfectly to that. So before I went on stage, I was doing my mental fitness exercises, and I like to just rub two fingertips together. Very simple, but really pay attention to how it feels. Notice like the fingertip ridges of your fingers. Are they dry? Are they smooth? What's the temperature? And the cool thing is you can do that very subtly. You don't have to walk around people and do this, but you can do it subtly in your pocket or, whatever. So I was doing that and I was in a really good headspace. I felt confident. Everything was great. So I go up on stage, and I get about not even 10 seconds in and they stop me. And I'm like, what? And I didn't freak out, but the MC rushes over and she's like, your mic is not turned on. And the thing that was kind of ironic about that is, so they mic you up in the green room, and I was in there. They tested it. Well, the person who tested it just inadvertently turned it back off instead of leaving it on. So, I had the wire going down the back of my shirt, and then I had a jacket over it. So the MC, fortunately, I knew her, was putting her arm up the back of my shirt, trying to get this wire and then turn, the mic on. So I just looked at the audience and everybody was looking at me like, oh my gosh, this is horrifying. And I just kind of shrugged and just did a curtsy. And I'm like, what do?
Yeah,
And then she just said in my ear, please start over. And I'm like, okay, I got this. Had I not been doing this mental fitness exercise, I probably would have completely derailed. But what was the irony in that is my presentation was how to manage stress in the moment with mental fitness. So I actually walked the audience through a couple little mental fitness exercises.
Yeah.
So this situation perfectly aligned with what had happened. And I even at the end in my closing remarks, I even mentioned, things can get unpredictable and something like this can help even with a microphone incident, and then I left. So I find that to be very helpful. But again, other people can focus on their breath. The breath can be really calming, and it forces your heart rate to lower too. So whatever works for you, but it's really about being present and taking the focus off that anxiety, that fear, that imposter syndrome, so that you can just kind of get to that place of, what, I'm calm. It's okay.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder if that happened for a reason. I often say sometimes things are fate, right?
I think so.
So
I
that
think
was,
so.
that it was showing the audience, because there was probably one, if not two people there that really needed to absorb your
Yep.
TEDx talk. And all of a sudden they're actually seeing it come to life, like, whoa, this is real, right?
Yeah.
And often things happen for a reason, not only to bring it to light for yourself, but also to other people. So yeah, I love that. I love that. And that brings me to a question about challenges, right? That was a challenge. And if you're comfortable with sharing, Lisa, a challenge that you're having right now and
Mm.
how you're able to journey on or travel with that challenge without it just putting the brakes on.
Okay, I'll just put it out there. So I had been working with a client for a year and had a great relationship. Our year was up, and she had learned so much, and honestly it was really time for her to move on anyways. But the economy has been a little challenging, so she said, I really, we're kind of tightening our budget a little bit and I need to pause. And I totally understood, and I actually appreciated that she told me that. So of course, I could go down the path of, oh my gosh, I'm losing this great client. But I'm like, no, because I believe that the universe is going to provide me with something else. And that by not working with her, maybe right now, it's opening up an opportunity for something else. So it's just shifting that mindset, because I admit, for a fleeting moment, I thought about, oh gosh, this isn't good. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's totally fine. And I am really okay with it.
Yeah, that's right. Right. You have to be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that you said you could have gone on the path of just cause, what did I do wrong? Why is she
Yep.
leaving? We've come so far, like, not understanding. But instead you shifted that and said, no, she's at a place where, she's feeling all
Yeah.
right. And she's thinking about herself, which is good, because that is something that
Yes.
the journey has been with you and her, for her to start prioritizing herself, listening to herself, saying what she needs, and validating and knowing it's okay. So
Yes.
that is really, I say, rewarding.
Very.
really rewarding. And
Yeah.
then, you from there said, okay, there's a new door opening. They always say when one door closes, we need to allow ourselves to know there's another door ahead. Could be tomorrow, could be next week, could be in a few months.
Yeah.
But knowing this is where I am right now, I'm going
Mhm.
to move forward versus staying stuck. So I love that,
Thank you.
that whole journey that you shared with us. That's wonderful. And, I think journeys are ways of allowing us to find different ways of even motivating ourselves.
Mhm.
And in the morning, sometimes people really, really struggle with motivating themselves to get out of bed, to take on the day, because, there are a lot of people out there, a lot of women out there that wake up like, I'm dreading today. I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to move on. So when, we all have those days, no matter
Mhm.
what. I mean, you and I, we practice, mindset shifting, and we practice, things that work with us and sharing it with the clients and helping them. But there's the odd time we'll wake up to, it's like, I am so tired. I'm just going to put out that example, right? But
Yep.
instead, it's like, nope, I'm going to get up, go on the day. How am I feeling right now? I'm going to do something for myself to
Mm.
help kind of wake me up. So, what are words that you can share, or what are thoughts that you can share, Lisa, to, you know, help other people out there that you actually do yourself to
Mhm.
help you get motivated, become motivated, be motivated first thing when you open your eyes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm a firm believer of practicing gratitude, and I do daily affirmations
Yes.
as well. And I also do devotions, whatever that is. It could be meditation, for individuals. It doesn't have to be spiritual, it could be, what have you. But so it all kind of coincides. But what I have found, if I wake up in the morning and I'm tired and I didn't sleep well, then I start my day about thinking of a couple things that I'm grateful for. And I know sometimes it's hard, if you really don't feel great, but it could just be, hey, I have a warm bed to lay in, or I have access to clean running water, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then as a part of my devotionals, I have all these affirmations and I say them repetitively throughout the day, and again, it's a way of retraining your mindset. So if you're not feeling it, and some days you could be reciting this affirmation and you may not 100% be feeling it, but you say it anyways. And the thing, how our brains work, again, with those neural pathways, is the more you say it repetitively, it becomes a belief system, which then drives your behavior. So you can influence your mindset that way.
So true, right? It's
Yep.
it's the way we set up our thinking. It's like when, a child walks with a glass of milk, you say, oh, make sure you don't spill that. What
Yep.
happens? They
Spills
spill
it
it.
because that's all he's focusing on. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And
Yep.
and what you're saying, what are you saying to yourself? Well, that negativity, that is what your mind is going to hear.
Yep.
Because naturally, our brains are wired naturally
Mhm.
to, focus on that negative. But when we start to shift the way it's wired by how we talk to ourselves, what words we use to describe ourselves, what words we use to, go about our daily life, that
Mhm.
is where the shifts start to happen in your mindset. And, do you have people as well that come to you, Lisa, and they say, like, Lisa, because it happens to me too. And,
Mhm.
how is it you're so, you're positive and you're smiling all the time? And I said, like, I have to work at it too. It doesn't come naturally,
Oh
but
yeah.
I just say, look, I have gratitude every day. If I normally write in a gratitude journal. If I do not, then I'm still thinking it. I'm happy, I'm blessed, I'm able to wake up and being
Mhm.
in the moment. Okay, wow, look at that beautiful sun, listen to the beautiful birds. And all those daily practices helps me
Mhm.
to get where I am today. So when people say to you, Lisa, how is it you're so like happy all the time or smiling all the time, this positive energy about you? What is it? What's that secret tool, as people would say?
I am a firm believer in controlling your energy, or I
Mm,
should say protecting your energy, not controlling it. And I have really done a good job at setting healthy boundaries and eliminating negative influencers in my life. And I talk about this a lot when I speak to audiences is, if there is anything in your life that is draining positive energy from you, it could be the news, it could be social media, it could be certain individuals in your life. You need to either remove them or at least limit the exposure. Now, sometimes if it's a family member or somebody that you work with, you can't just remove them from your life, but you can certainly limit your exposure. And then when you know that you're going to be in their presence, then you make sure that you have as positive a mindset as possible. And that's by practicing those affirmations, practicing that gratitude, just trying to be calm and clear-headed, being in the present, so that when you're in their presence and they're Debbie Downer, what have you, you can go in there. Yes, it will start to drain your energy, but then you can get out as quickly as possible. So protecting your energy is so important.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, that's a whole different topic.
Yes. We could go down hours on energy.
Oh my gosh. So true. So true. And if anybody's feeling this lightness about them, everyone who's watching, or kind of a numbness or kind of a dizziness, that is because Lisa and I are sharing this incredible energy right now.
Yes.
I'm amazed our internet hasn't gone down. So, those of you listening, if you're feeling it, it's just, the energy you're feeling off both Lisa and myself, because we share the same values, the same similar thoughts and processes. So I always like, letting people know that
yes
when I'm feeling that with a guest, because some guests I'm not, and some guests like, whoa, right from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for having that really good, that really beautiful energy. And there's always some questions I love asking every guest, because we kind of dive deep and learn a little bit more of you, Lisa, the person you are, aside from, the practices you do for yourself, the practices that you share with your clients and help them through, and getting through this toxicity. I can always flip my tongue on that toxicity that is out there in the world, right? It can be nasty, and we have to be aware of how that really affects us, and what you can do to not be absorbed by all that. Yeah, so there's so many quotes out there, that we all love, and we kind of keep it hard or look back at. So Lisa, what is a quote that you tend to kind of keep in the back of your mind, or you live and breathe by it?
Okay, this might seem like kind of weird and random, but I love Marie Forleo's attitude, and I love everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
Because it really is.
Yeah.
We tend to go down these rabbit holes if we're experiencing a challenge, or if we're depressed, or, whatever it is. We can dig ourselves out of anything, and truly anything is figure outable if we allow our minds to expand and get fully present, and just allow that mental clarity to come into place. But unfortunately, we get so hijacked sometimes by all these negative emotions that it just stalls us. So I like that reminder, especially if I'm like trying to complete a project or do something and it's hard, it's feeling hard to me. I'm like, okay, one, that's my saboteurs having a heyday. And two, it's like, stop. Okay, everything is figure outable. Just be present.
Yeah.
And then you can figure it out. Yeah. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, love that, right? And it's all about baby steps, right? The baby, instead of trying to get to the end. Well, take a baby step every day and you'll get there. And like I said, it is figure outable. That is a great one. You've shared some wonderful, really beneficial advice today, Lisa. What's one more maybe that you meant to share, and it kind of, you lost track because you were focused on something else, but is there another piece of advice that you'd love to share today?
Yes. It's kind of a couple steps. So one, you're not perfect. I know we all have this perfectionism that we like to maintain, which is not reality. We have to be kind to ourselves, and we don't do that very often.
No.
You know, when challenges arise, we tend to hold ourselves to a different standard than other people, which is ridiculous,
Mhm.
you know, because we wouldn't treat loved ones that way. And why are we doing that to ourselves? We have got to give ourselves grace and be kind to ourselves because we're a work in progress. We could be going phenomenal, and then one day we're just not feeling it. And that's human nature, and it's okay. It doesn't mean we're a bad person. It doesn't mean that we're, you know, broken. I hate that term. Oh, you're just broken,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
you
yeah,
need
yeah.
fixing. Oh, stop. That's ridiculous. So, you know, just be kind to yourself
Mhm.
and just really think about how would I treat somebody if they came to me
Mhm.
and were feeling this way? How would I treat them?
Mhm.
And show that same love and appreciation to yourself.
Yeah, I always say instead of giving all your love away, save some for yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. I just got chills when you said I like that because you know you hear things similar to that, but I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, now
Yeah.
I've got chills. Something, it pops out of
Yeah.
out of your mind, and then how you put it is totally different, right? How you
Yes.
structure that. So,
Yes.
Lisa, it's the last day of your life. Okay. And without choosing family, what's the one thing that you would be most grateful for?
Without family, I would just say my life overall, to just think about all the wonderful experiences that I have had. You know, is my life perfect? Absolutely not. But you can find some almost perfect moments throughout your life. And I'm very thankful for those, you know, whether it's been travel experiences, just being outside in nature. I love being outside in nature.
Mhm.
So I loved when you were describing your run, you
Mhm.
know, how that was for you. So I would really just focus on just thank you, you know, for my life, and just really focus in on those things that, you know, sometimes they may not seem like that instrumental at the time, but when you reflect back on it, was pretty amazing.
Mhm. So you would be most grateful for nature and also the person who you are, and life, the opportunities that you've been
Yes,
given. Yeah.
absolutely.
I want to know, Lisa, if you didn't exist today, why would the world need to create you? Why would the world need to create Lisa?
Because I like to say that I do have an energy that is needed in the world. And I think it's very important, especially now with all those negative influencers that we talked about. You know, I post a lot on social media, like happy days post and inspirational sayings and things like that. And I just think we're so bombarded with so much toxicity. And I think, you know, anybody out there, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but I think anybody who can exude that energy and that positivity and focus on that is very needed today.
Mhm. And there's a word I heard I'm going to point out because it's something that I've learned to switch. I
Okay.
used to say I think as well.
Oh, okay.
I now change it to I feel. And the
Oh,
reason
yeah.
why instead of I think, because then I'm doubting myself,
Mm,
right? But when I say I feel, I mean, we all truly feel something,
yes.
and
It's that
it's flowing
emotion
through.
component.
Yes. Yeah. So that I heard, I think a few times. So
Yes.
like, yeah, I'm going to bring it about because I really feel strongly that when we start to feel something, we start to believe in ourselves more versus,
Mhm.
oh, I think, well, do you see the
Good
difference?
point. Oh, huge difference.
Yeah,
Huge
yeah,
difference.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Cause you know, it's funny. I don't notice that, you know,
Yeah,
and a lot of people, they don't. So that's
no,
great. So I'm going to be really mindful of that now.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that.
yeah. And I pointed out to other people, and they're like, you know what? You're right.
Yes.
It's like, you know what? I'm just sharing to help you believe more in yourself. So
Yes.
Lisa, thank you very much for this beautiful conversation,
Thank
your
you.
insight, your knowledge and wealth that you're sharing with the whole world, and for being a guest on my podcast. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. I have loved this conversation
Yeah,
so much.
yeah,
It has just been really energizing for me. And I
yeah,
thank you for the opportunity.
yeah. I always love when, I have guests that share the same. I mean, I love having guests too that share a different message as well, but I
Yes.
feel when the guest is so on par,
Very aligned.
so aligned. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so important because the message really goes out even stronger because, there's so
Right.
many listeners out there that cannot hear what you and I have shared today. And everybody out there, thank you very much for listening to another mindful conversation. Remember, value who you are. If you haven't yet, please look in the mirror, or as you're finishing listening or watching this podcast, give yourself a compliment. Believe in that compliment. And when you wake up tomorrow, think of 1 to 3 things that you are grateful for. Thank you very much, Lisa, and everybody out there. Thank you with gratitude. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.